welcome back to another episode of Alexify, the Place for Fashion podcast. Today we have a super special guest. She may or may not be my really close friend, so it's really awkward doing businessy things with my close friends, but she is a influencer and she goes to the same fashion school that I go to, and we're going to talk about all of that. So everyone, welcome Chazlyn Yvonne.
Hey guys, it's Chazlyn Yvonne.
Again, today we are going to be talking about FIDM and influencer stuff, and let's just get right on into it. So Chazlyn, for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. Okay, so my name is Chazlyn. I'm a college blogger / micro influencer, and I also go to fashion school at FIDM with Lexi, and my major is digital marketing.
Super, super cool. So how long have you been a content creator influencer for?
Literally a year. It sounds so crazy, but I've literally started in the pandemic, and we're just now getting to the anniversary of that. So I've been doing it for a little over a year, but I always just say a year.
It's so funny because Chazlyn and I became friends because, we're both influencers, and we were like, hey, let's shoot content together. And so that's literally how our friendship started. We just went around places and we're like, let's take photos. And yes, we still do that. But now we also are actually really close friends and go and do other things together, not just take content. But that is how our friendship started. So
love that.
Love that for us. So what would you say the hardest thing about being an influencer really is?
Probably comparison is the biggest thing, because even though it doesn't feel competitive, but you're always at least for me, I'm constantly looking at other people's growth and what they're doing and what brands they're working with, and that can get a little mentally exhausting. But besides that, and we were talking about this last night, just because I guess being an influencer or working in social media is seen as not seen as a side job, but we are doing it as a side job just because we're in college and we have all of these other things going on. Time management is the worst, and it literally takes so much time, and a lot of people don't understand how much time it does take. So yeah, comparison and timeliness probably.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just in general with social media, it's our job, and social media is known to be a very can be a very toxic place because you're scrolling through Instagram and you're comparing yourself, and although it depends how we compare ourselves kind of is we're scrolling through and we're oh my god, they're working with Kate Spade and I'm not working with Kate Spade, so it's definitely a lot of comparison just in general, and I feel overall everyone experiences that with social media, but this is our job, so we constantly are also experiencing it. And then, yeah, Chaz and I last night were literally sending voice memos back and forth to each other. Oh my God, I have this and I have 5 classes and I have 2 jobs. And then I also have this job. And then it's and the thing is no one considers being an influencer a real job.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. And I know we've talked about this 1,000 times, but being in the influencer industry is a primarily woman-run industry, which is why I really think it's such a joke to everyone, is because oh my God, but it's also very new. And when things are new, people don't necessarily always react well to things. I mean, just in general, people don't always necessarily react well to things. But it's being an influencer, I mean, it's been around forever, but it's also not been around for at all.
It's modern day marketing. People don't understand that it's literally the same thing as if you saw a billboard, you're going to subconsciously want to buy that product. When you see the influencer, you're going to want to subconsciously buy that product. And some people can't wrap their heads around it, but it's funny because whenever I have family members or friends that don't get it, I just say that to them and they're oh,
they're oh,
it's literally marketing, but just make it fashion.
Yeah, and on social media.
Yeah.
And it's really crazy how much goes into it. We're going around taking pictures, but we're our own models, we're our own photographers, we are our own
negotiators,
editors, whatever, everything.
We
do everything. We do the negotiating, we do the money part of it, we do the literally any aspect you can think of a job, and posting something on social media, or just any aspect of any job, like there's like 1,000 people that go into that one thing that was released. Well, we're all of those things.
One person, yeah.
We are one person that does all of those things. So next time you make fun of us influencers, think about that, huh? Think about that.
Attacking people.
I'm just like, I'm butthurt right now. And I'm like, I don't even know why. I'm just like getting angry on the podcast.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, anyways. So I feel like as influencers, you know, we get constantly like DMs from people or text messages from our friends, and we're like, hey, like, I really want to start being an influencer. And I mean, I love that. Like, I love that people, you know, feel comfortable enough to come to me and be like, hey, like, could you give me advice on how to start? So for anyone who is listening and does want to become an influencer, what like advice, like main top 3 tips that you would give someone to like start being an influencer?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess like the first one would just be to just do it and like get started without the intent of getting the brand deal or making money or like any of those things, like even just like going viral, like with no intentions, but wanting to post it because you want to inspire others or like you just love your fashion. And that's literally what I started doing. Like I didn't even realize it was a thing until like last year, obviously. And I was just like posting and like creating content, and I didn't even know that it was called that. I was just like, I'm making like cool pictures and like posting fun outfits. And then people started like reacting to that, and then brands started reacting to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like if you just start doing it for yourself and doing it for fun, all of like the money and like the collabs and stuff will just come to you. That's like such a big like tip. But then I guess the other thing after that is like once you do start trying to get those collabs, don't be afraid to like reach out to brands, because a lot of people think that like they're just going to come to you, which is true in some cases, but it does not hurt to like pitch yourself and reach out and see like if they have any opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. We were also doing that last night. But yeah, I mean, we have a mutual friend, Julia, who wants to start being like more of an influencer. And she keeps saying like the constant line of like, I don't have enough like followers to start working with brands. So do you think that you need a certain amount of followers in order to start working with brands or to become an influencer?
Not at all. I mean, even for Julia, which is so funny, I had less followers than her when I started. I think I started off with like 900 when my first brand reached out to me, and it wasn't a collaboration. It was for PR. So they just wanted to send me something. And it's really like for followers, I guess it's like either have good engagement and not a lot of followers, or have a lot of followers and not good engagement. So like brands don't really care if you have a following. They just want to make sure that your content is good. And like if you don't have a following and your content like sucks, then obviously you're not going to get collaborations. But like if your page already looks like it would be something that an influencer would have, or like it already looks like you could do a brand collab with them, like they're going to reach out to you regardless. I actually had that with Kate Spade. When I started working with them, I had like 200 followers on TikTok, and everybody else had like 100K, 50K, and it was just little me, but they didn't care because all they wanted to do was just take my content and repost it. So I still got paid evenly as everyone. Like that's the crazy thing. Like no matter what follower count you have, you can still, if not exceed people that have more followers than you, or be on their exact same level. So it's really just like the quality.
Definitely. And I always say like to Julia and to anyone else, like you start somewhere. I didn't start being an influencer with 16,000 followers. No, ma'am. I literally think like in 8th grade, middle school. And I didn't start working with brands. I just kind of started. I actually had a blog, which is how I started, but you don't obviously have to have a blog. And I just started by promoting my blog post on my Instagram. And back then I had like, I don't even know how many, I was in freaking 8th grade. That was like, I don't know how many years ago, funny. But I know, right? Little old 8th grade me, like, hey guys. But so I started in like 8th grade. And then really when I got into high school is when like I started like becoming more serious about things. But even then, like freshman year, I had like 2,000 followers, and then it started growing. And now I'm a sophomore in college and I have 16,000. And even with that, like,
it takes time.
Like, yeah, it takes so much time. And I've talked to someone like on old podcasts with like Gabby Diagi, who's like a huge influencer now, and Michaela Hederman. Like, they have been doing this stuff for like 10 years. And only this past year have they taken off. So, you know, you have to start somewhere. And then when you do, like, I always say, like, just don't give up. Like, it can be hard.
It's so hard, especially when you see, like, I've witnessed people, like you were talking about earlier, like ask me for advice on influencing and then surpass me in like months.
We were talking about that.
It happened with this one girl. I feel like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
One girl, and she's like about to hit 10K. And I remember like sending her like my contacts, like so that she could work with like X brand. Like, it's crazy. And like, you have to just like not take it personally. I think you also just have to have like thick skin and kind of just like realize that everyone is going to grow at a different rate. And like, I'll blossom at a different time than they did. Maybe they did earlier than me. Like, you know what I mean?
Definitely. And I always say this about Chazlyn when I like introduce her to new people. But I'm like, Chazlyn's the type of person that just like knows that there's like space in the world for both of us to succeed. So I feel like you definitely have to have that mindset when being an influencer. And it definitely, of course, it can be hard at times, but like, you have to remember, like, just because they're succeeding doesn't mean you can't.
Yeah.
And it just means that they're doing great right now and that you should be happy for them because they're doing great right now, but you're going to do great later on.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyways, my little tips there, those are mine. So you have worked, we've mentioned this, with brands like Kate Spade and Coach. How did you get jobs like this? And like, how would you advise others to work with, like, be able to work with brands like this?
Yeah, so with Kate Spade and Coach, those are the first and like only like luxury brands that I've ever gotten a chance to work with, which is like so grateful, especially with my small following. And that's literally through agencies. I think like another thing like is a misconception where people think that these like designer brands and large brands are going to like DM you or like you can DM me. Absolutely not. That is not going to happen. Like, you will get ghosted because they hire these like, think of like a modeling agency. They have it for influencers now. So they'll hire like an influencer marketing agency, and then that agency will be like, okay, Coach is trying to rebrand for Gen Z, which is what happened. Coach was trying to rebrand for Gen Z. So they were like, let's get a bunch of like Gen Z Instagram people to do it. And this particular agency was the same agency that I had worked with for Prime Student, which was my first ever like collaboration. And so they knew that I was into fashion and I was no longer working with Prime Student at that time. So they just reached out and I ended up getting collaboration with Coach, which was like ongoing until Kate Spade reached out. And it was literally the same deal, different agency. They reached out and I actually had to stop working with Coach so that I could work with Kate Spade because they're competitors. So yeah, it's not through the brand. It's always for these larger brands, it's usually always through someone else.
Yeah. Could you list like a few of those influencer platforms just for people who want to start?
My fave is Riddle and Bloom, Riddle and Bloom, like a flower. And they do Coach as well as Amazon for anyone interested in that. And then my second fave is Youth Marketing Connection. It's called YMC. And they do Kate Spade New York, but they also do Maybelline, Aerie, and there's one other, I think it's Madewell. So they do like a lot of like fashion and beauty companies, which is, I just discovered them when they reached out. So those are my top two. Anyone can apply, it's free, and all of the campaigns are paid, which is great. And you get to meet like a lot of really cool people. Like, I met one of my favorite TikTokers. Her name is on TikTok, her name is The Real Lynn Shady.
Oh my God, I love her.
She was in the program with me, and with like my 200 followers, I was like, oh my God, like I literally follow her. So it's really cool. Like, this is what people are using. And it's literally like a click away on Google. So
yeah, there you go, guys. You have a fashion niche. So how important do you think that it is to like have a niche when starting to become an influencer?
I don't think it's like completely mandatory because I think everyone has a niche in their own way. Like, I think the misconception is a lot of people think that a niche is like the equivalent to an aesthetic, which is like not really true. Because even I don't even consider myself to have one aesthetic, which it might look like it on Instagram, but like I promise you my closet is like a rainbow. Like I don't wear pink and black, like everything. And so like for you, like say your niche is like sustainable fashion for Gen Z. Like that's a niche. So I do think it's important because then you know who you're creating for, who your like target audience is. This is so FIDM. Oh my God. You know, like who you're so FIDM. You know who your target audience is, you know what hashtags to use, you know what content is going to do well. And I kind of started figuring that out because at first I thought I had to have like this one thing. And I was like, okay, all of my stuff is going to be like super pink and girly. And then that lasted a while and that content did well. But then I started getting into like other areas. So now I'm just kind of like dabbling in a few of my favorites. But yeah, I think it's nice to have so that when you're starting off, you know who you're creating for. But over time, like the people who are following you, like if they truly like your content, they'll stay for whatever you do. So
yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to mention too about like brands and having a small following, because when you have a smaller following, it's more likely that your following is people that like are reliable followers that they stand you, they love you, and they're following you for a reason. Like when you have a bigger following, like that your followers are honestly less loyal. I mean, like if you look at just like Kylie Jenner's Instagram, she has however many million followers, but she only gets only gets she only gets like 100,000 likes. Like, oh God, couldn't be us. But imagine.
That's so embarrassing.
But just like in general, like if you have like that large of a following, like you're not going to get as many likes. Like you're going to get a lot of likes, but you're not going to get as many likes as you have followers. Yes. So if you're like looking at the ratio, it's different. And so a lot of brands actually prefer working with micro influencers, wow, my words, because they're aware of the fact that the followers that are following you are loyal followers that are, like you said, that will stick with you even if you end up changing your niche. And then just to talk about the more niche part that we just mentioned, like you said, like I have a sustainable fashion niche for Gen Z. So I think again, like kind of what you said, like people misinterpret niche for like aesthetic, and they're actually very different things. Like I say, like you have like a fashion niche and like a college blogger or college influencer niche. So like I always suggest like finding that thing that you want to focus on, whether it's fashion or food or beauty or whatever, and it can be pretty broad. And then kind of niche down a little, like maybe if you're looking like, oh, like beauty, but for Gen Z, or beauty for like millennials or whatever. And then once
like whatever,
whatever, any of those. And so once you kind of like start posting for that niche, and people, like you said, then follow you because they know that the content you're producing is going to be for that niche. They're gonna, if they follow you, they know like, oh, I'm following Lexi because I care about sustainable fashion, and so does she. And then in the future, once you get like more of those, reliable followers, you can even broaden your niche a little. So like, once I keep growing, I tried this like a little while ago, and then I didn't really stick with it because I wanted to focus again more on sustainable fashion. But I did do sustainable fashion and then fashion psychology, because again, people think that fashion is just like the clothes you wear, but there is literally a psychology to it. It's like a whole freaking science. And so I did like post a few blog posts about that, but then I wanted to like focus more on sustainable, go back. But in the future, once I keep growing, like maybe I will broaden out to that, or I'll do sustainable like home decor or sustainable whatever. And just like as an example, like there are brands, I was talking to someone how like I think it's Vera Wang, she's everyone knows Vera Wang, but then she did like sheets or something, so like everyone so it's like designers are known maybe for one thing, but then they also have these other lines that once everyone knows them for that one thing, well then they can branch out a little bit and everyone will be like, oh, like I know Vera Wang, like, oh, I didn't know that she had sheets, like, oh, I'm gonna buy them because I know Vera Wang.
Same thing.
Anyways, so just a little bit more about the whole niche aspect of things. So moving on to FIDM. FIDM, FIDM, our college, we love it. You mentioned your major. Could you repeat that just for the listeners?
Yes. So I'm a digital marketing major as of right now for my bachelor's, but for my associates, I actually did merchandise product development. So literally like learning how to create and sell clothing and run a business. That was very intense and I did love every moment of it, but like I'm so in love with the major I have now because it really correlates to the work that I do like on Instagram and online. So like a lot, like this week I literally have a class where I have to create content. Like it's like dream major. So I love it so much. And everyone in it is like so interesting. So yeah.
No, that's really amazing. I have two of my classes, one of which I have to create and then write a blog.
We love.
Well, I'm kind of already have one of those, so easy A. No, just kidding. And then the other one was I literally think like something with not creating content for like Instagram, but it was something about like creating like a storefront for like my blog. And I was like, that actually is beneficial for me because if in the future I want to sell clothes, now I have a storefront for my blog that I made literally in my class. And then the other one of my classes, I leave with a whole writing portfolio, which is super beneficial because my like in the future, if I want to apply for like, I don't know, writing for a magazine or whatever, I can now apply with my writing portfolio that I did for this class. So super interesting. Yeah. Well, that was my next question. Can you tell us a little bit about like FIDM and why you love it so much?
Yeah. And literally you just said it, like the way we're able to like apply things that we do in class to the real world. Like it doesn't feel like I'm wasting my time or wasting my degree, which a lot of people struggle with in college. And I think we're like so like blessed in a way to be able to like actually be studying something that we intend to go into one way or another. Like even if we decide to do our own thing and like freelance after this, like at least we have the knowledge to do so. And like all of the teachers and like classes are just so like they're just real. Like, you know, like in high school or like whenever you were doing something or learning a subject, you were like, when am I going to need this? Like, I haven't said that to myself once, probably, especially since starting my new major. So.
No, definitely. That's what I always, when we were at the open house, that's how I was like describing it to people. I was like, your classes are geared towards your major. And the only time where that can be an issue is if you end up wanting to change your major. Because then you just have to retake a few classes, but or not retake, but like take new classes. But that was like my biggest thing with like graduating high school early. I was like, I know that like in high school, like you're basically like high school is not, yes, you're learning things that you're probably not going to use on a day-to-day basis in the real world, but you are kind of, I always say that like when I was in high school, I was learning how to learn. So like I was learning how to like listen to a teacher and take in the information that I was being told and like apply it to a situation. Like I was learning how to learn, and that's super beneficial.
True. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's super.
I actually love that. That's
thank you. I have wisdom every now and then. Every now and then. But so high school is beneficial because you are learning how to learn. But in that like last year, I was just like, I'm already ahead. So like might as well at this point like go and graduate early and like find a school where I want to learn stuff that actually I will now apply to my day-to-day base, like on a day-to-day basis. And that is FIDM. Like your classes are geared towards your major, and your major is most likely what you're going, well, maybe not, but is hopefully at the moment what you think you're going to do for the rest of your life. So like I'm a merchandising marketing major. I want to do merchandising and marketing. It has to do with marketing. And so all of my classes are literally geared towards what I will be doing in the future. Like I have an Excel class, and my teacher always says that like if you want to end up being a buyer, Excel will be like the biggest thing that you use. So anyways, I just love FIDM for like that reason specifically. So you're a RA at FIDM. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's like my second job, I guess, what we were talking about. And so far it's been good. Like I like having my own space, and I like that like you get to connect with other students, because I was doing that anyways, like especially as being a social ambassador. I don't know if you experienced this, but like you're always getting DMs about FIDM and like what you think about FIDM and like how is FIDM, and like so that's kind of what it is here, because like most of the people in the dorms are like incoming freshmen, so it's just a lot of like dealing with that. I mean, besides like the bad part of being an RA, I guess, is like when the issues occur, and then it's like, okay, like now you have to like break up an argument,
right?
It's really cool because like I kind of feel like a mentor to people, and like I've had like a really good relationship with everyone, so far so good, like knock on wood, because I'm having issues, but like it's been really good and actually kind of fun so far.
Yeah, definitely. That is just so cool. It's funny because whenever Chazlyn and I are out together, like we were at LA Fashion Week, and all of our residents were there, and we were like, "Oh, hey guys!"
Like the other day, I was like getting coffee at Phil's, and I saw someone, and I was like, "Oh, did they like fix your toilet?" I'm like, "Did the maintenance ever get on that?" So, yeah.
We're like, "Oh my god, how's your coffee? Oh, did they fix your toilet, by the way?" Yeah. That is so freaking funny. Well, you mentioned, being a social ambassador, and obviously I know that you are a social ambassador, but can you tell us what it means to be a social ambassador, and then also like what amazing things come with being a social ambassador?
Yeah, so kind of like, I guess, being an influencer or content creator, that's kind of what social ambassadors is, except it's for FIDM. So we're able to create content for the school and for their Instagram page. And then it's also kind of like, as I was mentioning before, a resource for any students online that like maybe want to connect or follow a FIDM student, because that's like their dream school, or like they aspire to kind of be in our shoes. So it's kind of a cool like mini job, because we're able to like pick up assignments every quarter, and then from those assignments we get to create different content about FIDM, and then probably like the best perk is like the trips we go on. So literally I feel bad because Lexi hasn't like been on any of like the, I guess, like big trips that we've done yet. Like we went to Disneyland.
I want to go to Disney so bad.
Literally same. We went to Disneyland. In the past we did a lot of like it wasn't the selfie museum, but it was the same vibe, like where you go and take pictures. And then we've also done like photo shoots for the FIDM website. So it's literally just like a group of people that have the same interests. Like we all love taking pictures, which is so funny. Go on a social ambassador trip and everyone's like with their phone.
Oh my God.
So yeah, even Fashion Week, like that was a social ambassador perk. So love it. My favorite club at FIDM, honestly.
Yeah. Oh my God. So fun. And talking about clubs, you're also a part of Black Student Union, which I was going to join this quarter, and then I had so much going on. So I'm going to join next quarter.
Literally.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God. Oh, don't even get me started. Me with mode too. We'll talk about mode next. But can you tell us about Black Student Union?
Yeah. So I co-founded the Black Student Union at FIDM with one of my friends, literally in the pandemic. And she graduated, so I kind of had to like fill that spot, which I don't mind at all. Like I'm so glad that I'm able to carry on what she started. But it is a lot of work just because of like literally what we were just talking about. RA, influencer, student, social life.
So much, too much.
So it's kind of just like a space that we created at FIDM for Black students. They didn't have one, which is a little sus. So we're so glad that we were able to like create that, and the people that are in it are so great. And we also have a lot of allies supporting us this quarter. It's amazing. So we're all gonna like learn from each other. We're hoping to like have a lot of fun events, especially for Black History Month. And we did the first year online, so I'm really excited to see how it is.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's amazing. Definitely any FIDM students that are listening currently, join Black Student Union with me next quarter, because I was going to do it this quarter, and then I was like, wait, if you look at my calendar right now, which obviously podcasters can't see, but oh my God, like there is not a day that is blank. But next quarter, we're all going to join. Yeah, so that is super amazing. And then also Mode, you are, or maybe not this quarter, but we're a part of. Can you tell us about Mode?
Yeah, so FIDM Mode is like the student-run magazine at FIDM, and I was literally doing it every single year. But this, I was gonna I went to the first meeting this quarter, and I just could not like keep on top of it with all of the things that I'm doing, which is a little sad. But in the past, I've loved doing it. I was a model. And just kind of like seeing the process of like how a publication works and like all of the ins and outs was like a really good experience. And I'm sure I'll like join back. Just this quarter, I could not keep up.
Yeah.
What about you though? Like, did you?
So I in the past, that's the thing with Mode is, so yeah, again, it's like the kind of like FIDM fashion magazine. And it's so fun, and it definitely teaches you a lot about like being a part of like a publication, like you mentioned, Chazlyn. But just this quarter is literally insane. Like I don't know how I'm awake right now. And I have like 18 billion things to do once we jump off this podcast. I love life. But Mode, in the past, I have been a writer, I have been a stylist, and I have been a model. Like Chazlyn and I actually did a shoot together. So cute. But it's so fun to be a part of. And those are kind of like the more like quote unquote minor roles. You can also be like on the editorial board, which I also wanted to do.
I wanted to know, because that's a whole other job.
I know, like I wanted to do that. I wanted to be the social media person for this quarter, and then I was like, that is so funny because I don't have time. So I applied for this quarter to be a model, and I just haven't heard back from them yet, because usually they like figure out like what we're writing about and like all these things first before they reach out. So I'm hoping that I'm just gonna be a model this quarter, because I am so stressed. But when I usually don't have this much on my plate, it is so much fun, and there are a lot of great people on the team. So it's just another great way of like being a part of the school and meeting new people. And that is another thing I want to talk about, because that is like, I feel like one of the most asked questions I get when talking about FIDM is like, oh, how's student life and how is like meeting new people? So have you found like that has been like an easy or a hard process for you? And like, what's your, I guess, like main way of like meeting new people, especially like in LA, such a
oh my gosh,
big place?
I guess it was a little different for me, because the year that I started was the year, like a couple months before the pandemic. So like pandemic didn't exist until like my third quarter at FIDM. So it was a lot easier for me. But I think because FIDM isn't like your typical, which I think we should definitely talk about this, but FIDM isn't like the typical college environment. So sometimes it's a little bit hard to like find your tribe, because everyone is like, we're all creative people. So then it's like, okay, so who am I friends with? So like, I definitely think social media, like the same way I met Lexi is literally the same way that I've met countless amount of people. Like we'll just be like DMing each other, commenting on each other's stuff. And then it's like, hey, let's do this. Or like for me, social ambassadors is how I met my like really good friends. Probably like the main way I met my friends was through clubs at FIDM. So
yeah, I completely agree. I think that, and like clubs, I mean, depending on which club, they don't have to take up that much of your time. Like being a social ambassador is so much fun and has been such a great way of meeting new people. And we just have to produce one thing of content per quarter. And I'm like, I'm producing
leisure, honestly.
Yeah, I'm like
my free time.
Yes, I'm like, I produce content for FIDM anyways. So now it's just like
now.
Yeah, so I'm just like just gonna like send it to them anyways. But yeah, I definitely think that joining a club is a great way. And then literally, I think that's how I met Julia. Not club, but social media is how I met you. It's how I met Julia. And then Julia's roommates, Sonia and Amanda. It's literally how I met like all of my friends. And then all of my closest friends. And then also just going to class now, like being able to actually meet people in person has been super like different from just compared to last year, because last year it was like, oh, like I was on Zoom with people. So it's like, I don't know how to like reach out to you, and I'm not going to put in the chat during my class, be like, what's everyone's Instagram? So this year definitely has been like so much easier to make friends, because like if I just go to class and I'm like, oh my God, what's your name? Oh, cool. Want to get coffee? Like, but yeah, I feel like those are like the three main ways, is like joining a club, meeting people like just while at school, and then social media. That's why social media is like great, because it's such an easy way of connecting with people.
For sure.
But like you said, FIDM is not a traditional college. So I feel like there's so many things that we could talk about with FIDM, just in general, like how it's not traditional and why it's like amazing also that it's not traditional. But then also I personally had this like huge major conflict as to whether or not I wanted to go to like a more traditional college and like have that like, oh my God, sorority and like football and like whatever experience, or if I wanted to go to like the more like fashion college experience. So Did you have that kind of like internal debate with yourself? And if you did, how did you end up choosing FIDM? And then also, can you tell us just like ways that FIDM is non-traditional and like why you love that?
Yeah. So for me personally, I never desired for like a regular college experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like the thought of like football games and frats, like that's amazing. Like I can still do that and
Mm-hmm.
still go to those things without having to be like completely immersed in it. Like even like the living situation at FIDM, like this is my dorm, like here
Mm-hmm.
at school. So like it's a lot different in that you're kind of like an adult working in the industry, but you're still in school, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Because even our class projects are like work assignments that you would get if you were doing an actual job.
Literally.
So that and also just like the downtown vibe and how all of the like the campus is small, all of the dorm like buildings are spaced out. We're living with real people that like actually have jobs. Like it's not like a college dorm type community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it's different. But I really wanted that because I just like I love fashion so much. Like it's my passion. That sounds
Fashion is my passion.
like literally. So I was like willing to do anything for that. And
Mm-hmm.
you're always gonna have like FOMO, I think, especially like around like rush week at regular schools or like
Mm-hmm.
you see like the football games and like cheerleaders and all that. But like we can still do that just because like there's so many other schools in California that have that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have plenty of friends that like go and hang out with those people and like that's totally cool.
Literally.
But yeah, for me, like this is like I'm kind of like living the dream in the sense that like when I'm done with college, it won't be like such a harsh jump off point
Yeah.
because it's like, oh my God, I'm an adult and I have like my own apartment and like a kitchen to clean and like a like no, we already have that now.
Yeah.
So and
Exactly.
we like it's like it's almost like they're helping you become an adult and like become a productive member of society.
Literally.
Like no one here, like even with being an RA, I think it's so much different than a regular school because like I don't have to hold anyone's hand. Like everyone is completely capable of like handling their business.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of even like that's kind of just why I wanted to do a school like FIDM. And I think that goes for any fashion school too. Like it's not traditional. So you really have to say like, is my career more important than parties and like the whole culture of college?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, that was like when I decided that I was like, no, like I'm gonna go to FIDM over like going to like fucking, I don't even know, like I think it was like University of Georgia or something. I don't know. But when I like finally decided, I was like, no, like I'm gonna go to fashion school. My whole like reasoning behind it was like, I'm gonna be able to learn on a day-to-day basis like what I actually love and what I have a passion for, which is fashion. And I'm also gonna be in like this huge state where I'm gonna get like the city aspect with being in downtown. Like I always say that when I walk to class, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like low-key in New York, like the tall buildings, like like the getting chased by homeless people, like New York vibes. But
that is, to me, that is the college experience. Like there's no cafeteria here. Like you have to go grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that to me is like the life experience because
yes.
I feel like so many people in regular colleges, like they're going to hit the ground and like reality is going to hit them like a ton of bricks, to be honest, because you're still living in this like school kid, like fun, do whatever I want like, environment. And we're already like past that. Most of least. So yeah, it's still fun. Like you still get all of the same things, like all of the same perks. It's just on a different level.
Yeah. And I mean, like we can like you said, like we have like UCLA and USC next to us. Well, not UCLA. That's a little bit of a hike, but we have USC next to us. And like, if we wanted to, like, we could still go to like those typical parties or like, go to like a football game or whatever. And then we also have the aspect of like going to like the fashion school. And like you said, like FIDM really prepares you for the real world. They even have like, again, at open house, this is what I was describing to people. It's like, it's 10-week quarters. So 10 weeks is fast. Like I literally blinked and I was like, oh my God, wait, midterms? Wait a damn minute. I did not know that. And so like, yeah, I like literally like, I was like, wait, midterms. Oh my God, studying. Whoa. It's not
over. It's over. We've already gotten to our halfway point. It's over.
Yes.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so like they go so fast, and the reason why it goes so fast is because the fashion industry goes so fast, and they want to fully prepare us for the fashion industry, but also just for the real world, because like anything goes fast. You're given a project and then it's due. So that's how we do like school too. Like you're given a project and then the next week it's due, or you're given a huge project and in 10 weeks it's due. And 10 weeks might seem like a long time, but it's not. Trust me, it is not. So that's like one, like another like huge like plus to FIDM, I feel like, is what you mentioned, is like we're fully going to be prepared for the fashion industry and for the real world once we graduate. Like we're already in the real world, kind of. We have one foot in the real world and one foot still in the college world.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But that's so interesting too that you said that you were like, no, never traditional college.
It was never a plan. Like I can't even think of one where I was like, no, like nothing. It was all the fashion schools. I looked into all of them. So
yeah,
immediately.
Well, you're also originally from the East Coast, much like me. Us East Coasters, we love them. So how was that like transition from like the East Coast to freaking California?
I always say this because like I am an only child, so moving across the country was kind of like giant leap of faith. I don't know anyone. I don't even have family out here, so like literally no one's out here. So it was literally just FIDM that was out here, and I would say like I personally love the West Coast just because like there's pros and cons to both, but I think like the common thing for like the East Coast is like everyone is like very fast paced, like a little bit mean, like a little bit like everyone is like moving really quickly, and it's the same vibe out here, except people are like so much more pleasant, I guess.
Yes.
Like I don't know, I've had like a better experience even like with like customer service, like not to be a Karen, but like if you go to like a Starbucks on the East Coast and you go to a Starbucks on the West Coast, like your experience is going to be totally different. Like, and I just think it's like the vibes with like the weather and like just everything about California is like so positive to me, and it's like such a different, like immediately when you get off the plane, like you can feel the energy.
Oh my God, like completely agree. I like the Starbucks down the street for me. Like I know all of the people that work there. Like they're so nice. They're like, oh my God, like you have an Ohio State keychain. Like, are you from Ohio? Like, why do you like Ohio State? Like they're like asking me random questions, and they like notice things, and I'm like, they're like, oh my God, you cut bangs. I'm like, oh my God, I did. Like, how did you remember me?
Then on the East Coast, like in Boston, they like throw the coffee at you.
They're like, here, catch, bitch. No, literally. And I always like, I definitely want to live in New York at some point in my life, but I always said like, that was the biggest thing. It was like, especially coming to California at like 17 years old, I was like, I don't know if I'm fully prepared to live in New York where like, it's fast paced, but people are just like brutal there. And I was like, maybe let's save that for when I'm like more mature and like in my 20s, and then I'll just go to California where like it's still fast paced and it's still preparing me for the real world, but at least people are like, hey but sweetie, like do you need help?
It's like a free spirited vibe out here. Like I definitely also like love New York, and like if I got a job after FIDM that was in New York, I'd probably go. But like I do think like if you do want a college experience, I guess, and like you still want to go to fashion school, maybe FIDM would be a good place to go just because it is in LA and like it's more fun and like I don't know, it's different.
Yeah, I always said too, like we have like you drive 20 we have all the vibes. We're just one with the earth over here. But you like drive 20 minutes and you're at the beach, and then you drive 20 minutes and you're back in the city, and you drive like I don't know however many minutes and you're like in the mountains in Malibu, like on a hike, and it's like you get like the best of like all worlds. Yeah, like you get the best. Okay, I'm done. But that was like such a deciding factor for me too, because I was like, oh, I can be by the beach, but I can also be in the New York, me make believing that I'm in New York when I'm in with, like, the buildings. Oh God, New York looks so pretty today. But yeah, anyways, just in general, definitely check out FIDM if you are looking to go to fashion school, because we've been talking this shit up for like the last 30 minutes. So you better be convinced by now. And we might be social ambassadors, so we might have to promote FIDM, but we're doing it because we love FIDM. School spirit. Okay, I'm done. Is there anything else that you would like to mention to the listeners?
I don't think so. I'm just like so happy that we did this because I feel like everything we covered is stuff that I always get questions about. So now I can send this to them, honestly.
Yeah, now you'll just be like, here, listen to my pod with Lexi.
And honestly, like, this is so cool that you're doing this. Like, all the people that you've interviewed is like so amazing. I just feel like you should be so proud of yourself because like this is so cool. And like even with all the stuff that you do have going on, girl boss. So congrats to you.
I love you. See, Chazlyn is such a good friend. See, like just that little snippet there, like when I describe people, like my friendship with Chazlyn, I'm just going to be like, here, listen to this part of the podcast because you're such a great human being and I love having you as a friend. And you are also girl boss with your RA and your social media job and school and balancing social life and everything. And I love you. And I'm so happy that we met up that one time because now I can call you one of my closest friends. Oh my God. Are we going to start crying on the pod? No. Okay. Well, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Chazlyn.Yvonne on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter.
Perfect. Well, make sure everyone you go and you follow Chazlyn. And while you're at it, you can also follow me. My Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are all at Lexi Silverstein. That is Lexy, silver like the color, STEIN. And remember to make the ordinary extraordinary.